evening, everyone, and welcome to RosterSlam II on Twitch Sports. Presentation of the main roster. My name is Jez. I'm joined by my regular main roster co-host, Dan.
This guy.
Welcome on in. How you doing, Dan?
Yeah, good. Tired from work, but all good.
I'm not tired, which is fantastic news,
Surprising.
considering I'm going to be up until tomorrow morning, basically, watching SummerSlam tonight. First time in many, many years that I've stayed up to watch SummerSlam. I can't.
You're risking it.
Yeah. I may end up doing one of those sleep streams that people talk about involuntarily as I just pass out here in my chair. But you never know. I might manage it. I'm sure I'll caffeine up and be good. But
Rod yourself up.
I was talking with you about it a few weeks ago, trying to remember the last time that I actually stayed up to watch a WWE pay-per-view. I'm not counting watching one live in the States, because that's in a naturalized time zone. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
I mean, being here and staying up until 4 or 5 in the morning to watch a pay-per-view. Don't think it was even in the last decade. Definitely wasn't in this one. Didn't do it last year or this year.
Yeah.
Must be easily 10 years, 15 years.
Wow.
Crazy. When was the last time you stayed up to watch a WWE pay-per-view?
I haven't.
You never have? Okay, fair enough.
No.
Fair enough.
I always am knackered from work on a Sunday, so
Yeah.
I'm just like, nah, even though I've got my day off on Monday, I'm just like, nah, I'm too tired. Just watch it in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you can avoid the spoilers, it's totally reasonable to watch it in the morning, usually, I find.
Yeah.
But
I just don't look at my phone usually on a Monday. But this time it's going to be harder because obviously SummerSlam's tonight.
Yeah.
I won't be watching it until Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be super tough for you. Especially because I'll be there messaging you going, oh, yeah, Roman Reigns kicked Cena's head off. It was fantastic. I've just remembered, actually. The last time I stayed up to watch some wrestling.
Yep.
It was the night after WrestleMania when Roman Reigns beat The Undertaker.
Oh.
While I had a broken leg, I was like, well, I'm just going to be sat here anyway. What difference does it make what time I sleep and what time I'm awake? That was the last time. So 4 years or so since I stayed up.
Fair enough.
Just came to me now. Isn't that great?
It's great.
But we digress fairly substantially.
As usual.
We're not here to just generally chat about the latest we stayed up in the last 10 years of our life. That's not the purpose. This is RosterSlam II, which is the next in our line of fantasy wrestling pay-per-view events. What has happened before this show is we've put together a card featuring matches from wrestling's past to try and make the best kind of event ever, really. We've done 2 Rostermanias, WrestleMania season. We did RosterSlam last year, and this is the second such event. So we drafted 2 weeks ago and chose all of the matches.
Yes, it was 2 weeks ago, yes.
So now we've watched everything, and we're going to go through the match card, break down all the matches, give you all the analysis, and give it a rating out of 5 as if it's a regular pay-per-view event. Yeah. So coming up in this show, we have got Raven versus Kane versus The Big Show for the WWF Hardcore title. The WWF Light Heavyweight title will be defended as Dean Milenko takes on Crash Holly. Ric Flair will take on Sting in an exhibition match. For the Tag Team Championships, America's Most Wanted will defend against AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels. We have 3 Stages of Hell, or the best 2 out of 3 falls, as Stone Cold Steve Austin takes on Triple H. In another triple threat match, we have Kaylee Ray, Toni Storm and Piper Niven vying for the NXT UK Championship, Women's Championship. We have an epic encounter inside Hell in a Cell as The Undertaker takes on Mankind. We will crown the first ever North American NXT champion as EC3, Killian Dane, Adam Cole, Ricochet, Lars Sullivan and Velveteen Dream battle in a ladder match. We will determine the greatest stable in main roster history as the Shield take on the Wyatt family. And in our main event, John Cena will defend the WWE Championship against CM Punk, my returning guy. I've just covered the fists. There we go. There he is. I brought out my the t-shirt I haven't worn in years for the occasion. My SummerSlam Beast versus the Best t-shirt.
Good man.
Why not? It's one of the many shirts that I got too fat to wear and now fits again. Hooray for weight loss.
Good on you.
The Greek giant Gallus has entered. Indeed you have. Welcome, Comrade Wizard. Long time no see. But if with comments like that, oh dear, I see Jez is still beltless, you can leave again, to be honest with you. Yeah, my belt's just on the wrong side of this divide, really. It's over there. I can almost...
No, you can't.
Okay, it doesn't work. I'm not able to reach out and touch it.
Anyway, we straight in.
I suppose so. I'm just trying to provide you with the most difficult segue ever to kick off our opening contest here.
I was trying to think of a segue, but yeah. Anyway, the opening contest at RosterSlam II was the World Wrestling Federation Hardcore Championship, with Raven defending his title against Kane and the Big Show in a triple threat match. The champion came to the ring with his customary shopping trolley full of weapons, which for this show included a wet floor sign, a plant in a catering tray, and a bust of Frankenstein's monster. Match got underway before the Big Show could even make his way to the ring, but when he did, Kane launched Raven out of the ring into the arms of Show at ringside before climbing to the top turnbuckle and dropping both men with a flying clothesline. Match never actually made it into the ring and spilled through the crowd and into the backstage area. Nothing was safe from these men when Raven, finding himself thrown through a window, and Kane and Big Show crashing through a wall. Eventually, the match made its way to the stage where Show picked up Raven and tossed him off the stage before he could perform the launch. However, Kane booted Show in the face and both men fell off through a box. Kane delivered a massive elbow drop to someone inside the box and got a 3 count to become Hardcore Champion.
Yes, indeed. Now, my only disappointment with this match is that we didn't see the creative way in which one of these guys hit each other with the bust of Frankenstein's monster.
Yes.
Frankenstein's monster did not come into play in this match.
No, he didn't.
In fact, none of the objects in the trolley did. Normally, Raven used the things in the trolley to great effect immediately, but...
No, he didn't use any of them, did he?
No, they didn't stay in the ring at all, so he didn't get the chance to use the toys that he brought with him. So, no wet floor sign, no plant inside a massive catering tray, and no Frankenstein's monster.
Oh dear.
Big sad. Yeah. What did you think of this match?
I thought it was great. As I always say, I like the extreme matches, so this was definitely extreme. Going through the crowd, getting put through a window, etc., etc. So it was great.
Yeah. I'd forgotten about the little nuances of being thrown through the glass window. Raven was, and then Big Show and Kane literally shoving each other and just barging through a wall. Yeah. Yeah, all right, Harmstone, pipe down. You know I'm still beltless. Keep that comment to yourself, sir. One of the more memorable hardcore matches, hardcore championship matches, at least in my head, from the greatest WrestleMania of all time, WrestleMania 17.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard any argument yet that WrestleMania 17 isn't the greatest WrestleMania of all time.
No.
So
Don't have any arguments from me, so...
Answers on a postcard if you have a WrestleMania that was better.
Yeah.
But I will fight you.
You will fight me.
And I don't know how many matches from WrestleMania 17 we've had on these fantasy events, but it's quite a few. We've had this. We had TLC 2.
Yeah.
We had the Stone Cold and The Rock match.
Yeah.
So that's 3. I think that might be it for the moment. But
I think that's all we've had. But I'm sure we can find some more from it.
Yeah. I mean, the Intercontinental... Is it Intercontinental or European? That Jericho and Regal, I think, kicked off the show in. I think that was the Intercontinental Championship. That's a good one. That might make its way into the show sometime. But interestingly, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 matches on this event, RosterSlam II, that are within a month and a half of each other.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't realise that it had happened until I was watching the matches for this. But so this one is the first of 4 that are within a month and a half of each other. And I'll point the rest out as we progress through the show.
Wow.
Yeah, so nice way to start. But we progress rapidly into our second contest of the night, which saw Dean Milenko defend the WWF Light Heavyweight Championship against Crash Holly, accompanied by Molly Holly. The match started fast with a succession of Irish whips and strikes and slams before Milenko took control of the contest. He managed to lock Crash in the Texas Cloverleaf, but became distracted by Molly, who jumped onto the apron. Milenko released the hold, approached Molly and forced a kiss on her. Crash rolled up the champion, but he kicked out. Molly would come into play again as Crash got the title to distract the referee. She delivered the Molly go-round to Milenko, allowing Crash Holly to roll up Milenko successfully this time and pin him to become the new WWF Light Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah.
Now, we're not exempt here. That is a roll-up for the win, so cheers, good sir. May not be the last time that we have that today. I can't remember. But this was the first time you saw this match, right?
Yes.
What did you think?
Quick.
It was quick. I mean, it was on Sunday Night Heat. This wasn't a pay-per-view match. One of the very few times that a championship has changed hands on what is not even a B show, but a C show in WWE.
Yeah.
Quite historic, for my money. Crash Holly took this championship into the WCW ECW invasion, and so was the guy that first took on the cruiserweights when they came over from WCW.
Yeah.
Probably would have been better to be Milenko, to be honest, but it was nice to see Crash Holly get a championship. He didn't get much opportunity for a championship. How did you feel about the lip lock of Milenko?
He really puckered that up, didn't he?
He really did. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to make this look like a television kiss as much as possible.
Absolutely.
And we've said it before on this show, you wouldn't get away with that these days.
No,
there would not be any forcing yourself onto a woman on the apron in 2021, thankfully.
Thankfully, yeah.
And it's especially funny that it's Molly Holly that this happened to. That's funny's the wrong word. Ironic, being that she was really one of the first people to speak up for like kind of equal conditions for the women in WWE, and her whole gimmick, not at this point but going forward, was based on kind of women's equality and not having to to gussy up and have a boob job and have long blonde hair and all that kind of stuff. But yes, Jaeger, Molly Go Round, which is a cracking name for a move.
Right.
The Molly Go Round, you get up onto the top rope, and with your opponent standing up in the ring, you do a front somersault and you land on top of their shoulders, crotch first, basically, and then that forces them down to the ground. And it's called the Molly Go Round.
It's kind of like what Reginald does.
It is like what Reginald does, but Reginald just takes a running start and does it without the top rope, doesn't he? Yeah. And to be fair, I think Molly Holly actually made it look better.
Yeah.
I
Reggie
don't know.
Go Round.
Reggie Go Round, yeah. Sounds extremely painful. Well, it can be, yeah. Especially if you get it wrong, you're basically getting like a tailbone into your chin, and it could potentially knock you out, really, if you slide too much. But now Molly Go Holly, known as Molly Go Holly, what? Molly Holly, known as one of the best technicians from women in wrestling. So I don't think she ever cocked it up, to my memory.
No.
So
No, I don't think she did.
Testament to Molly Holly. Yep. So that was the second match within the month and a half span in 2001. This match took place on March 18th, 2001, which is 2 weeks before WrestleMania 17. So those two are together.
Yeah.
And surprised they didn't have that match at WrestleMania, really.
Yeah. Could have done.
But we will progress with our little show.
So, the next contest was the final meeting in the historic rivalry between the Nature Boy Ric Flair and the Icon Sting. They kicked off the contest living up to the name of the dirtiest player in the game, raking at the eyes of Sting and shoving the referee. Despite some good wrestling offense from Sting, Flair returned to this later in the contest, delivering an uppercut to the undercarriage of the Icon without the referee's knowledge. Flair used this advantage to lock in the figure 4 leg lock, but Sting refused to submit and reversed the pressure of the move. Flair tried to chop Sting into submission, but this only fired him up. Flair was launched into the corner before being locked in the Scorpion Deathlock and tapping to award victory to Sting.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, the uppercut, in inverted commas, to the undercarriage.
Yes.
Was not addressed by the commentary team as a low blow, but it definitely was a low blow.
Oh, it definitely was.
And before we get into the match, this is the third match within that month and a half period. This took place on the go home night for WrestleMania 17, the Monday before, on the last Monday Night Nitro ever. And it's quite interesting that we added this match to this show, being that this was Sting's last match on the TNT network in the States back in 2001 until last Wednesday when Sting wrestled on AEW Dynamite on the TNT network for the first time since 2001. Yeah, it's not the only kind of coincidence that comes up with the timing of this show, and it was not deliberate. Like I have had this match on the shortlist for these fantasy events since the first one, and I haven't been able to get it in there until now.
It shows that this was meant to be.
It was absolutely meant to be. Yeah. Okay. But first time seeing the match for you?
It was.
What did you think?
I thought it was good. You know, both men had a good showing. You know, they kind of both did what they did best. And it was great. And Ric Flair with spiky hair.
Ric Flair with spiky hair, yeah. I mean, when he debuted, or re-debuted in WWE after the invasion, this was really my only knowledge of Ric Flair from this match, because I only really watched WCW for that last couple of months. I found Nitro on Bravo, which is a channel I'm not sure you'll even remember here in the UK.
I know of Bravo.
Yeah, it was basic. Other than WCW, it was basically softcore porn, and eventually became the channel that had rolling repeats of Dog the Bounty Hunter until they took it off the air. So it's an interesting channel. But yeah,
Okay.
I found Nitro on Bravo.
Yeah.
Watched from probably December 2000 through to the end in March 2001, and they actually had it on in the same kind of way as the Monday Night War. So,
All right.
the first hour of Nitro was unchallenged, and then Raw would start, and that hour would compete against each other.
Yeah.
And then the Raw would have its second hour unchallenged. So it was that overlap. And I would always watch Nitro for the first hour, and then turn over to Sky Sports and watch Raw. And then I couldn't even go back and watch Nitro later. This is before the days of DVR and recording and stuff.
Yeah.
You watch one channel or tough.
Yeah.
And so I only ever saw the first hour of Nitro, which very rarely had Ric Flair on it. He was on the second hour, if there at all. But yeah. So when Sting turned up in WWE, I was like, that's the guy that did have spiky hair, and seemed pretty damn old then. And he's here now to keep wrestling. So okay, sure, I guess. Yeah. He now co-owns the WWF. Blah blah blah. All that kind of Ric Flair introduction. But Ric Flair was in a pretty bad place at this point. He did not have any kind of confidence in himself as a wrestler anymore. He perceived himself to be too old and past it, basically. He's mentioned in an interview that he wasn't particularly happy with this last match with Sting. And that was why, when he came to WWE a year or so later, he didn't actually want to wrestle. He just wanted to be like a manager type or authority figure type character. And it was only when Triple H not took him under his wing, but for lack of a better term, took him under his G'd him up, reminded him who he was, that he started to redeem himself again. But I think, all things considered, Ric Flair did a great job in this match. Sting did a great job in this match. And to think it was his last match for 3 or 4 years until he eventually turned up in Impact Wrestling. Crazy, really. And Sting still got it now. He had a good match with Darby Allin against 2.0 on Dynamite last week. So crazy how long people can wrestle now, considering 10, 15 years ago, for a wrestler to live beyond 45 was a pretty crazy concept.
Out of wrestling into their 50s.
It's amazing what happens when you take drugs out of the situation and steroids.
It's amazing when you look after yourself, isn't it?
It is, yeah. How long you can live if you don't poison your own body.
It's amazing, that, isn't it?
Yeah. Basically, Channel 5 for Sky, says Armstrong. Yeah, basically. Yeah. The red-headed stepchild of broadcast and satellite television. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so from 3 matches that took place within 2 weeks of each other, we finally move into a different time period, and we head to 2006 for our NWA Tag Team Championship match, in which America's Most Wanted, Wildcat Chris Harris and Cowboy James Storm, with Gail Kim, defended against the team of AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels. Styles and Storm started the match, and the challengers took an early advantage with quick tags in and out. The champions tried to even the score with sly tactics at ringside, which began a brawl between the 4 men and 1 woman outside the ring. The plan worked well because AMW were in full control as the action returned to the ring. Isolating Styles, they secured several near falls over the TNA Triple Crown winner, but could not put him away. Styles was eventually able to escape the champions by delivering a sudden Pele kick to Storm, perched on the top rope. Daniels got the tag and hit a sit-out powerbomb on Harris, but Gail Kim prevented the pin by once again distracting the referee. But she was soon neutralised by an unknown, very tall woman who beat her up and literally carried her out of the arena, allowing the match to finally be 2-on-2. Styles tagged in, went for the spiral tap, but missed and fell victim to a punch to the face, while Chris Harris held some handcuffs in his fist. Daniels took over, hitting Angel's Wings on Storm, and so Harris took out the referee to prevent the pin. This backfired on the champions, though, because they used this time to get the bottle to smash over the head of Styles. Storm miscalculated and hit his own partner, allowing Styles and Daniels to capitalise and win the tag team championships. The other thing that struck me is I think every match, bar one, that we've had from TNA Impact Wrestling in these shows has featured AJ Styles.
Yes.
The only one that hasn't is Delete or Decay.
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
Yeah. The others have been AJ Styles for the X Division or Tag Team or some kind of thing. And that just shows you how good AJ Styles is.
Yep.
Consistently in the best matches that we choose. Now, were you a TNA wrestling fan? This is kind of when you first started watching wrestling, 2006-ish. So were you into Impact Wrestling as well, or?
I knew it was around. I didn't watch it. I was, when you're first starting out, you kind of see the first thing you see and you kind of stick with that, don't you?
Yeah.
Company. So I was just sticking with WWE, just casually watching at the time. So,
yeah. Sorry about that, because the best wrestling was definitely in TNA at the time.
Yeah.
And I was definitely more into TNA than WWE in this period, 2005 to 2008 or so, until Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff came in and took a sledgehammer to the good stuff.
Screwed it all up.
In TNA, yeah. And it's matches like this that kept me coming back week after week.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful wrestling between Styles, Daniels, America's Most Wanted, eventually Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, Sting, even when Jeff Hardy finally turned up.
Yeah.
He had some great matches in TNA as well. So, but did you enjoy this match? And
I did, and you've basically summed it all up.
Yeah. What did you think of America's Most Wanted as a team?
Interesting.
They were a really great tag team, and then they tried to split them up, which worked great for James Storm. He could carry his own in kind of the singles realm, but it was really the end of Wildcat Chris Harris. He just did not recover from not being in a tag team. He was actually in, not long after this they broke up, and he went to WWE.
Oh right.
He was on the ECW brand.
Oh Christ.
For about a fortnight.
Oh, he was on the ECW brand. That kind of just says it all.
Yeah, under the ring name Braden Walker. And he just was bad.
What?
Yeah.
What?
He went from Wildcat Chris Harris to Braden Walker. In true WWE style, they, took away everything that made him compelling in TNA. And that was that, yeah. And then Storm went on to join Bobby Roode and become Beer Bunny.
Beer Bunny.
Yeah. Ali Law, welcome in. How you doing?
La.
Yeah, so that was our tag team match. And things get a little bit A little bit more, as Ali Law has put in the chat, a little bit more Devon get the tables.
Yes.
It's a perfect segue, because things
there
get
we
more
go.
extreme in our next contest.
The first perfect segue in this. The extremely personal rivalry between Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin would finally come to a head at RosterSlam II when the pair faced off in a 3 Stages of Hell contest. First of all was a regular wrestling match with all of the usual rules in place. The match got started quickly with Austin handling game with punches and clotheslines, and the Rattlesnake was able to maintain control for the majority of the first fall with his trademark brawling style he was famous for. Despite this, Triple H was able to wear down his opponent by targeting the surgically repaired knees of Stone Cold, systematically wearing him down. With Triple H working his way to victory, he went for a double axe handle from the top rope, only to be caught with the Stone Cold Stunner and pinned to give the advantage to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
And the second fall got underway immediately. A street fight which spilled onto the ramp initially and then into the crowd soon after. Stone Cold maintained the drubbing he had begun in the first fall, this time adding to his beatdown with a steel chair. Austin found a barbed wire 2x4 under the ring, but this weapon would work to his disadvantage as Triple H used it to bust the Rattlesnake open. With the fight now on the announce tables, Triple H attempted to pedigree Austin through the table, but Austin countered with a back body drop, sending Triple H flying from one table and crashing through another. The pair fought viciously at ringside, slipping and sliding on blood and sweat, which Triple H added to after being busted open by a steel chair and steel steps tandem. The second fall came to an end after Triple H retrieved a sledgehammer from under the announce table, hit Austin with it, delivered a pedigree, then got the 1-2-3 to tie up the contest.
So the third and deciding fall took place inside a steel cage. Just as there was no rest between the first 2 falls, this match got started the moment the cage dropped. Triple H staggered over to Stone Cold and tossed him into the steel support of the cage before punishing Austin with the pinpoint right hands to the forehead. Attacking each other's forehead wounds became the focus of this final fall, as the pair then took turns ripping at each other's skulls with the barbed wire 2x4. Triple H hit the pedigree for the second time in the match, but somehow Stone Cold kicked out. Favor was returned after Austin hit the stunner, but this time Triple H kicked out. The pair turned to weapons once again, with Triple H picking up the sledgehammer and Austin the 2x4. They both hit each other in the head with their foreign objects one last time, but Triple H fell on top of Austin, and after a shock 3 count, Triple H walked away with the victory.
Let me say that 14-year-old me was absolutely livid with the outcome of this match back in 2001. I'm like, what?
I bet.
Like, but he was responsible for running over Stone Cold Steve Austin, basically. And what, you're saying Triple H gets the better of this? This is nonsense. What is this? What am I watching? For God's sake, this is terrible.
Oh dear.
Luckily, it developed into something very entertaining, and they would team together before this year was out, and that was crazy, the 2-man power trip. But that's another story.
Yes.
This is the fourth in those matches that all take place within the same month and a half period.
Brilliant.
This one being the earliest, from February 2001, so a month before the other 3. Basically, No Way Out obviously being the pay-per-view that takes place between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania at this time in history, anyway. Yeah.
There we go.
So completely accidentally managed to have 4 matches within the same time period. Because again, this was on my list from day one of doing these fantasy events, and I didn't even put this in. You did.
I did.
Yeah. So very, very interesting.
Yeah. I had it down, and because it was a badass contest.
Yeah. Had you seen it before to know that it was badass, or did you?
I'd seen
just heard about it?
Of it. I'd seen parts of it. So you know when you kind of like just see clips on YouTube and all that. So I knew of it, so I thought, I'll put it in.
Yeah, and a good choice it was. Yeah, I hadn't seen it in quite some time, which was great because I couldn't remember. I knew that it went to 3 falls, but I couldn't remember how we got there, and I could not remember who won until we got to the end, and I was like, oh yeah, now I remember. I hated it.
Inner child was raging.
Yeah, I was like, Rrr! From deep down in my gut, I was like, Rrr! Rrr! Don't like it. Rrr!
Oh dear.
I got over it, especially when
you got over it
when Austin won the title at WrestleMania the following month.
Yeah. There you go.
And it did what it was supposed to do. It maintained hatred for Triple H. That was really what they wanted to do here. Like it didn't really matter objectively who won.
Yeah.
Because of the match they had, and because it was ended in what was basically a double knockout, and it just so happened that one man fell on top of the other. I think it was a very clever way to finish it in hindsight.
Yeah.
Not so much at the time.
No.
Okay. Finally getting some actual action from women now, not just accompanying mentoring side. And the next contest was a triple threat match for the NXT UK Women's Championship, with Kaylee Ray defending her gold against Toni Storm and Piper Niven. Doudrop, you can drink that one. Toni Storm got the match underway, jumping Kaylee Ray after the ring introductions. Piper Niven capitalised on this chaos and was able to take down both women with thunderous cannonball manoeuvres. A frenetic back and forth then ensued between the 3 ladies, triple threat turn taking somewhat, but with all 3 women mostly remaining in the ring and getting their strikes in wherever possible. Kaylee Ray got herself a chair, taking advantage of the lack of disqualifications in a triple threat match, and was set to use it on the neck of Toni Storm, but Piper Niven interfered. Storm, now in possession of the chair, hesitated to use it on the person who saved her, and instead Storm and Niven each took turns putting down the champion. Storm used the body of Ray to attack Niven before hitting a sort of pedigree type move, and taking to the top rope for a frog splash. Storm went for the pin, but Kaylee Ray snuck back into the ring, kicked Storm off, stole the pin, and retained the NXT UK Women's Championship.
This one I chose.
Yes.
And you were surprised it wasn't. What's the other one you thought it might have been? It was an NXT UK one. Toni Storm
and Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, that was it. And you'd forgotten about this one.
I had forgotten about this match, and I can kind of see why I'd forgotten about it. Firstly, it was very recent.
Yeah.
I didn't realise how recent this was. This is a major event that took place with the numbers 2020 on it. Believe it or not, some major events with crowds did happen in 2020. This one in January of 2020. So it was weird seeing 2020 there and me going, hey, look, there's people. This is weird. Yeah. This is very weird. 'Cause Florida? No. 'Cause Blackpool. This was in Blackpool.
Blackpool.
Which is basically the Florida of the UK, right?
Blackpool.
Yeah. So there is that. It was very recent, and that's why I can't remember it, because my short-term memory is terrible. I'll remember it in a few years.
Yeah.
And also, it reminded me how not ready for the big time Piper Niven was.
Yep.
Like her promo, like watching the recaps of her promos was shocking. And I don't know if she's improved that now. Obviously, Eva Marie does her talking for her at the moment.
We don't know.
As Doudrop. So we don't know if she's any better at that. But it was terrible then. A year and a half ago.
Yeah.
In January 2020. The other part of that is I don't like Kaylee Ray. I don't know why.
Don't you?
No, and I can't even say why. Like, she's a good wrestler.
Yeah.
I just don't like her. I don't know what it is. I have some weird prejudice against Kaylee Ray, and I don't know why. Sorry,
no,
Kate.
I quite like her because she's a good wrestler. All that, you know.
Yeah. I just find her irritating, and not in the way I'm supposed
know.
to find her irritating. Not in the heel kind of way. It just makes my skin crawl a little bit.
Oh, it's each to their own.
Yeah. And obviously, love Toni Storm.
Yeah.
Toni Storm is incredible. Looking forward to seeing more of her on the main roster in the coming months. But in general, I would have preferred Ripley and Storm, but this was a nice little break from the
I thought I'd go
the extreme match before and the extreme match we're going to have after.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like a little interval for you.
Calm things down before we resume the carnage.
Yeah. So, shall we resume the carnage?
We shall. Allow me to just welcome Rooster Beast in. Y'all ready for some wrestling? Born ready. I'm going to be up late with some extra wrestling later as well. But yes, Rooster, you will remember this next contest very well, I believe.
Oh, the next match at RosterSlam II was not about championships or professional glory. It was the extremely personal affair between The Undertaker and Mankind within the confines of Hell in a Cell. Mankind made his way to the ring and immediately climbed to the top of the cage with steel chairs. Undertaker followed suit and the match began atop the cell. Mankind beat on the dead man with the chairs that he brought to the party. The pair fought on top as the cell began to buckle under their feet, but then Taker grabbed Mankind and threw him off the cell, crashing through the announce table at the feet of the commentators. With the match seemingly over, the cage was raised, enough for a stretcher to be brought out to take away Mankind. However, halfway up the ramp, Mankind fought his way off the stretcher, climbed back to the top of the cell, and the match continued. The pair were not on top for long as Undertaker delivered a choke slam that sent Mankind crashing through the cage roof and down to the ring below. Undertaker climbed down into the ring and disposed of the men trying to care for Mankind. Despite everything, Mankind managed to get to his feet and fought The Undertaker, hitting him open and bouncing him off the cell walls. Foley took Taker back into the ring and pile-drived him onto a chair, but could only get a 2 count. In case there wasn't enough carnage in the match, Mankind grabbed a bag of thumbtacks from under the ring, but this backfired on him as The Undertaker was able to back body drop him onto the pile of them laying in the ring and followed it up with a choke slam into them for good measure. Mercifully, Undertaker then delivered a tombstone piledriver and pinned Mankind to win the hellacious Hell in a Cell match. And I will say, they called it a Hell in the Cell match, not a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah. For the longest time, they jumped back and forth between those names. It was only really when they decided to name a pay-per-view after it that it officially became Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the name was pretty interchangeable. Yeah. I remember renting the tape of this pay-per-view. I thought Foley was dead. Yes. Well,
Yeah.
you're not the only one. That's a pretty common assessment of the situation, including from the Undertaker, who was in the match and was the person that may have been responsible for his death. Did you also, as I suggested, go and watch the Broken Skull sessions with the Undertaker to go with this?
I didn't actually. I didn't get round to it.
I would still suggest you go and do that now while this match is fresh in your memory, because and I'd forgotten, and I've seen this match so many times, but I forget every time how quickly Mick Foley is thrown off the cell. Like, it's within a minute. Within a minute, I don't even think it's a minute from them getting to the top of this cage, fighting, and then all of a sudden, off he goes.
And then off you go. Bye.
Yeah, and that probably should have been the end of the match. That probably would have done it. Like, we've done what we meant to do here. Thanks for coming. We'll move on to the main event.
Yeah.
And so after Undertaker threw him off, he was just kind of stood up there looking down. And in his head, half of him is saying, okay, I need to look like a badass here and that I'm, watching the carnage that I've created. But the other half of him, the human part of him was like, for the love of God, Mick, move. Move, Mick. Come on, Mick, move. Move. Show me you're alive, Mick. Move. Come on.
Move.
Come on. There it is. Okay, great. Cool. Right.
Oh, thank Christ.
I'll start to climb down now.
Yeah. Well, he didn't really start to climb down. They started to raise the flipping cell with him on top of it, didn't they?
They did, yeah. It was only once they were stretching out Foley, and all seemed to be over in this match that Undertaker started to get down. And then Mick Foley, being the crazy expletive that he is, just got up and started coming back. And so it was like, right, okay, back to the plan. Let's get back up on the top of the cage then.
Yeah.
And
Sammy through the top,
which was another spot that wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen, was it? I know about that. They were just supposed to choke slam on top of the cage.
Yep.
Then the cage just broke.
Yep. And again, within moments of actually resuming the match.
Yeah.
Like, this was just supposed to be the beginning part of the match. They were supposed to climb down, get into the ring, and actually start the match and do all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, Mick Foley called the audible of being thrown off the top. So that happened, and then they weren't supposed to go through the cage. Undertaker hurt his ankle getting down from the cage at the same time. Chaos. And then we had a 10-minute match afterwards while Mick Foley had his tooth coming out of his nose. Yeah. Cool.
He was smiling about it.
He was, yeah.
He is a word I cannot say.
On a pay-per-view, says Rooster Beast, that included a tournament, they threw this in there thinking it would be a good distraction, and it became the centerpiece. Right? I skimmed through the pay-per-view, and I watched the pay-per-view fairly recently. I can't remember who the 1998 King of the Ring is.
I can't.
No idea. Maybe it was Ken Shamrock? Did Ken Shamrock win King of the Ring?
To be honest, do we care?
No, because it didn't matter with this match in there. And we also had a championship match after this. Can you imagine trying to follow this match?
It'd be like, nah, mate.
No,
nah.
Let's just not. Let's just call it a night, and we'll do the championship match tomorrow on Raw. Forget it. I'm not following that.
We'll do it tomorrow. It's fine.
Like, there is literally a guy's blood all over the place. There's tables just smashed everywhere. Let's just forget it.
Just send everyone home.
Yeah. Thank you for the follow. Luna was here. I hope you stay here. And it can be Luna is here. Welcome. It was Ken Shamrock, actually. There you go. My skimming kind of paid off. Yeah. That really worked out for him, didn't it? He went far, did Ken Shamrock, on the basis of winning King of the Ring. We discussed it a few weeks ago. For some people, winning King of the Ring was, a blessing, and it really skyrocketed their career. And for others, it did absolutely nothing. Yeah.
Nope.
Ken Shamrock was already firmly mid-card IC title kind of dude, and he didn't progress much further than that. even after
He didn't
winning.
go anywhere.
No. I don't know why, actually. I don't know why he just abruptly left the company. Never found out, even after all this time. Perhaps now is the time to do that research again, but...
the time is now.
You're just dying to throw in John Cena references today, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
You're just really rooting for him to beat Reigns later at SummerSlam.
Can't remember who I picked.
You picked Cena.
Oh, okay. Well, now I've seen SmackDown, I don't think it is going to be Cena.
Too late. It is locked. Not that it matters. It's not for the title
I still
anyway.
get to keep that.
Yeah. But,
No.
yeah, that's especially why you don't get to change your mind. You had all the information you needed at the time.
Yeah. Okay, carrying on.
But we'll get to why you are less confident in a Cena victory when we recap SummerSlam on the main roster this Tuesday. Or you can stick around later for me live watching the SummerSlam pay-per-view starting about midnight UK time.
Yes,
so Dan keeps the belt regardless, yes, because he won two pay-per-views straight. So, yeah. And we will begin a new competition after SummerSlam in its rightful home. No. Look at how many belts he's got. He doesn't... Anyway, I'm digressing.
And you can't even see them all, that's the thing.
Let's move on to our next contest here at RosterSlam II, which was a match to crown the first ever NXT North American champion.
Belt that I do have.
Yeah. It's not up though, is it? Because you got too many belts.
No, it is up.
EC3,
It's just over there.
Shut up. EC3, Killian Dane, Adam Cole, Ricochet, Lars Sullivan, and the Velveteen Dream squared off in a ladder match to crown the inaugural champion. To start the match, EC3 escaped and let the rest of the men go at it. That was until he tried to encourage war between Lars and Dane, who then turned their attention to chasing him down. With EC3 dealt with, the pair were surprised by Ricochet, who hit them with a shooting star press from the top turnbuckle, as the pair stood at ringside below them. The superstars then took turns vying for the title in the ring, until a gathering of all 6 men was ended abruptly by Lars Sullivan and a ladder. Another meeting of all competitors began with EC3 performing gimmick infringement and yelling EC3 baby, sending Adam Cole into a frenzy of superkicks. With the majority of people dealt with, Velveteen Dream took to the top of a ladder to deliver a huge elbow drop, crashing down onto Sullivan. Dream, EC3 and Sullivan would bear the brunt of another big spot later in the match, with Sullivan slamming EC3 through Dream and a ladder balanced between the ring and the announce table. Not to be outdone, Dane slammed Adam Cole through Ricochet and another ladder balanced moments later. The only man on his feet, Lars Sullivan, began to climb the ladder to the title, but Dane managed to get up there and join him, closely followed by EC3, who attacked both men with a ladder before climbing it himself. Adam Cole joined the party, followed by Dream and Ricochet on a third ladder. All 6 men battled atop the 3 ladders and gradually slammed each other down to the mat below. Ricochet went for the belt, but Adam Cole struck suddenly, tipped Ricochet out of the ring from the top of a ladder, and climbed himself to secure the honour of being the first ever NXT North American champion. Yes. Another match chosen by you for this card. So what are your thoughts on it? Obviously, you watched it at the time.
Yep.
Does it still live up to your memory and the hype a couple of years later?
Yeah, it's still good, I think. The only downside is now we know what Velveteen Dream is like. But we'll gloss over that. Also, Lars Sullivan.
Yeah. So, reasons aside, only one of these men is still in NXT.
Yes.
And only one of these men have graduated to the main roster and are still there. EC3 went up. Didn't do anything, was released. Killian Dane never made it. was released recently in the more recent wave of NXT cuts. Adam Cole is rumoured to be going up to SmackDown very soon, possibly as early as tonight at SummerSlam. Ricochet hasn't really done anything, and I did note, Karis, my wife, popped into the room as I was watching this match during Ricochet's entrance, like, isn't his light supposed to strobe and stuff? I'm like, yeah, it appears to be broken. Still though, entrance is better with a broken strobe light than it is on the main roster at the moment. Just saying.
Yep.
Lars Sullivan, yeah. He was a thing, I guess. And Velveteen Dream, I think is still with the company. I don't think he has been released.
No, I think he was released.
Was he?
Yeah.
But has been accused of some terrible things. He's not been convicted of anything, but
we won't get into that.
there's no smoke without fire, as far as I'm concerned, when it's accused by several people. One, fair enough. Many, no, I don't think so. He has been released. He was released on May the 20th of this year.
Yeah.
So he gone. Good. Yeah.
He gone.
But in general, yes, they do a terrible job of transitioning people from NXT, and we discussed this in detail on Tuesday night, so we don't need to do that again.
Yes, we did.
This match, it didn't hold up quite as well for me as I remember it at the time. And I can't really think why. I think there were just too many high spots for me. Rather than telling a story from start to finish, it just seemed to be one high spot happened, and then we had a period of time before the next high spot happened, and then some other things happened before the next high spot. They didn't really flow together and tell a story, and I like real storytelling in wrestling. That's one of my major things that I need in wrestling is storytelling, the kind of soap opera aspect of it. And none of these guys had that big a personal rivalry with each other, with the exception of Dane and Lars, maybe. The Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream stuff happened afterwards, from my memory. EC3 was debuting in NXT, so it was just 6 guys together for the belt, and it was entertaining, but I just feel like it could have been better in hindsight, and totally deserves its place there. It fits the mid card kind of criteria of this show, but I wouldn't have put it in one of the other categories. For an extreme match or something like that. I don't think it holds up against other extreme matches or other ladder matches. For that matter. So that's my thoughts on it anyway.
Lovely.
It's hard to get new people over when everyone goes crazy for the part-timers when they show up. It's true, It used to be that a crowd would really not get behind a part-timer turning up again. They'd boo them and they wouldn't be able to get over. Like, The Rock coming back was met with negativity because he wasn't going to be there for long. Batista coming back, negativity. But nowadays, like, the amount of people that go crazy for Goldberg, I'm like, okay, I like Goldberg too, but it shouldn't be somebody else. Yeah. I've been distracted from working. Summer holidays are over forever. Yeah. You've definitely been put off working if you've come to join us for RosterSlam. You stumbled on in here. Welcome though.
Hold on.
And speaking of stumbling, shall we stumble bloodily on to the next match?
Yes. So, in a match to determine the main roster's most dominant faction, The Shield, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns took on the Wyatt family, Eric Rowan, Luke Harper, and Bray Wyatt, in a 6-man tag team match. Before the bell, a brawl kicked off, showing how personal this match was about to become. Rollins and Rowan officially started the match, and the Shield kept the big man in their corner for a time. But soon Rowan tagged Wyatt and Rollins tagged Reigns. The two men hit each other hard, and Wyatt escaped, tagging in his underling Harper. Ambrose entered the match, beginning a period of frequent tags by the Hounds of Justice. Momentum shifted back and forth between the two teams, each tagging frequently and each with the crowd behind them. As the match took to the outside of the ring, Wyatt took Ambrose away from the ring and deep into the crowd, leaving Rollins to be slammed through the Spanish announce table by the group. With Reigns and Rowan, the legal men in the ring, Roman was left alone to be systematically broken down by all three of the Wyatt family. Wyatt went for Sister Abigail, but Reigns powered out of it into a Samoan drop before dropping everyone with Superman punches. Reigns went for the spear on Wyatt, but Harper took the bullet, allowing Bray to hit Sister Abigail and pin Reigns to win the match for his team. Yeah.
Yeah, I had completely forgotten about this match and rivalry between the Shield and the Wyatt family. But boy, am I glad that you chose this match and put it in there because, like, the reaction that these guys got from that crowd was insane. I'd completely forgotten. Like, it was absolutely nuts. I don't think anybody had any kind of real preference, Shield or Wyatt family. They were just massively into everyone involved. It was like, to be so hyped from start to finish for a 6-man tag team match. It's
hard.
It's crazy. And so I was really impressed with that. And it makes me wonder, like, obviously WWE have forgotten as well because they hate, like, Vince hates stables. If you can get this kind of reaction for a match between two stables, why haven't you got more stables in your company?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm at a loss for words in that aspect. But yeah, no, this was cool. Obviously, everyone in this match is fantastic. Even Eric Rowan. Obviously, we have unfortunately lost Luke Harper. He's no longer with us. Dean Ambrose is no longer with the company. He's over with AEW. And Eric Rowan just is unemployed. He's fine. He just doesn't have a job. But he may end up somewhere if the release of Bray Wyatt is a legitimate release. If Bray Wyatt ends up with another company, I can see Eric Rowan going with him. Or otherwise, we might see Bray Wyatt later tonight at SummerSlam. Potentially.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
He was seen at AEW Rampage.
Oh, was he?
He was in the audience watching.
Oh.
It wasn't anywhere prominent, it's just somebody took a picture of him sat there watching
with his new egg head.
Well, he had a bandana around because they had to have masks and all that sort of thing. He's got his dreadlocks and you can see his tattoos and all that sort of thing. So,
okay.
Yes, it's a very good lookalike.
Now, it sounds nuts, and we're digressing here, but I think him being in the crowd only further confirms that he's still with WWE.
Yeah, I know. I think. Oh man! Imagine how good it would be.
Yeah, I don't know.
If they just say we released Bray Wyatt, we haven't released the Fiend.
Surely, if this was not a deliberate move, WWE would have corrected and put out a little note saying, "No, he does no longer work for us. He's gone."
Yeah.
It has to be a work. I hope
it is. If it's not, I'm going to write a strongly worded tweet to them.
By gum.
Yeah.
You will feel my 280 characters, the full force of my 280 characters.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just hope we get the answer tonight. I'm not sure how much longer I can wait to find out. Like, Stephanie McMahon piped up and said, you can expect several surprises at SummerSlam. Great. I'm going to need something to keep me awake, so bring those on, Stephanie. Becky Lynch is going to be one of them. It has to be. And I hope the other is Bray Wyatt.
Fiend comes and decimates Goldberg.
The other thing that I'm thinking is, surely there is some kind of extra reason to put Eva Marie on the card. And that's because the Fiend is going to be involved in the match with her and Alexa Bliss. Why else would you put Eva Marie on a professional wrestling card? There must be something else going on.
I don't know. I mean, there's a few routes you can go down. Like, you could go and ruin Randy Orton, because that's what he lost to. Or he could go to the Alexa Bliss out of it. Or he could go to Goldberg, because Goldberg was the one who took the Universal Championship off him.
He was, yeah.
So the Fiend could go and just decimate Goldberg, which would be amazing. So...
well,
aggression.
Stay tuned. Hopefully some of you will find out alongside me at the wee hours of the night watching SummerSlam. And welcome in, Bongo. Thank you for the follow. Good to see you. How's things? Shall we crack on to our main event?
Let's crack on.
I think we've said everything we wanted to say about the Shield and Wyatt family match. It was exciting, and I'm glad that you threw it in there. I would not have chosen it, so that was a good choice on your part.
Thank you.
But I did choose this main event. We'll see what you think about it. Another one that is, eerily timed, given what's happened yesterday, and what may happen later at SummerSlam. So, just throw them up again. So our main event is for the WWE Championship, and it has a lot at stake. John Cena defends the title against CM Punk, who vows to leave the company with the championship if he wins. Punk made his way to the ring in what was one of the biggest ovations in wrestling history, as the hometown crowd in Chicago chanted his name. I will say, last night's was bigger. But I watched this first today, making these notes, so didn't throw that in there. Anyway, John Cena, not unaccustomed to being booed, received one of the more negative receptions of his career, topped only perhaps by ECW One Night Stand in 2006. Big Match John was all business though, and he walked to the ring without much ceremony to get the match underway. The match began with chain wrestling between the two men, while the crowd chanted "You can't wrestle" to Cena. As the match progressed, Punk began to target the neck of Cena, at one point dropping a knee to the back of his head on the ring apron. Punk went for a crossbody from the top rope, but landed awkwardly on the knee of Cena, perhaps giving him another area to target. Cena turned momentum in his favour, though, with a suplex to the outside of the ring, which began a more even brawl between the two. Late in the match, Punk went for "Go to Sleep," but Cena countered into the STF, and in turn, Punk countered into the Anaconda Vice. A frenzied crowd begged Cena to tap, but he refused, and stood Punk up into the Attitude Adjustment, but Punk kicked out at 2. Cena threw everything he had at Punk, but still he continued to kick out at 2. Realising the severity of the situation, Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis came out to the ramp as Cena locked in the STF. McMahon sent Laurinaitis to ring the bell, Montreal Screwjob style, but Cena cut him off, telling Vince that he wouldn't win that way. This distraction was costly though, as Cena got back into the ring, straight into the GTS. Punk pinned Cena to become WWE Champion. Vince got on commentary to call out then Mr. Money in the Bank Alberto Del Rio to cash in, but Punk headed him off, almost beheading him with a kick to the skull. CM Punk then escaped through the crowd, blowing a kiss to Vince McMahon, and as he did, kept his promise to leave the event with the WWE Championship.
I had this on my shortlist as well.
There you go. Yeah.
It was just so good. At the time, it was brilliant. Now it is brilliant.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
To reference, in some small way, this event in his AEW debut yesterday, the ice cream bar reference. On your way out, make sure to grab your free ice cream bars. Direct reference to this period and the last contract negotiation with WWE that Punk was part in, albeit the TV part of it. Yeah. No, this moment for me was amazing. And back in 2001, as I was kind of losing faith in WWE to put on anything entertaining, like this whole period from the Nexus through to probably all the way up until about 2014, I was back in love with WWE again. And then there was a bit of a lull before coming back a little bit more recently. Jury's still out on how I feel about it today, but that's another story. But this was one of the few events that I'm like, I must own this on Blu-ray. Like I'd stopped collecting every event on DVD that I used to do, but no, I must own this one and have this moment on my shelf for the rest of time, because every time I watch this, and like when I watched this yesterday or earlier today was no exception, when CM Punk's music hits and that crowd roar, I get goosebumps every single time. Every time.
I don't think we've heard reaction to a single superstar like that since.
I would say the only thing that comes close, and maybe does rival it, is Edge returning at the Royal Rumble 2019.
Yeah, I could give you that one.
Or 2020. Was it 20? Yeah, 2020.
2020.
Just barely. Yeah, that one was huge. And I think if it were more of a surprise, the initial ovation that CM Punk got last night on AEW Rampage would have been as big. But they were already chanting his name, fully expecting him to come out. So it didn't quite have that same massive eruption. But it was cool.
It was cool.
It's cool to have CM Punk as a featured part of this show the day after he makes what was a very shocking debut for the rival company 7 or so years after just walking out, frankly. Being done with WWE.
Yeah.
Great match. And I sent it out on social media earlier. This was one of the matches. Whoop. We have a raid. Bongo was testing the waters to bring his raid of 5 into the show. Thank you very much, Bongo. Much appreciated. What sport were you sidecasting today? I know you're a recent joiner of the Twitch Sports Accelerator program. So welcome on in. Tell us everything. What were you streaming today? Hello, Hopeful Opus. Hi from Bongo Stream. Hi. Welcome in, Raiders. Yes, indeed. Yes. I'm in my twilight days of the Sports Accelerator program. I've been in it for 6 months. So I'm coming to the end of my time in it. But Bongo, just joining. Watching the final of the cricket. Yes. Yes, I know you're into the cricket. I did know that, yes. And know Bongo fairly well as well, not only from the Sports Accelerator program, but from Andy Lippy, who does so many wonderful things for the Twitch community as well. Let's give Bongo a shout out. It's a mighty fine year you've got in your username there as well. I do appreciate a bit of 1986. It's a good year. But yeah, so that was our event, RosterSlam 2.
Yeah.
Possibly better than last year.
I'd have to say better than last year.
Yeah. I mean, last year was a good one. But I think, considering we had those 4 matches from 2001, which were all fantastic, I'd got in a lot of the matches that I'd been really dying to get in there since the beginning. We had probably the best Hell in a Cell match of all time. We had certainly the best 2 out of 3 Falls match of all time. Some really quality wrestling matches, and this massive moment with Cena and Punk at the end. So yeah, I think I typed it wrong. What an idiot! I typed the shout out wrong. Bingo.
Bongo. There you go.
That's better. Yeah. I don't know. It confused me because it didn't bring up an error. It still brought the acorn in anyway. I don't know.
Could all be acorn.
I can't spell.
Mini acorn.
Apparently. Yeah. I fixed it now. Follow Bongo. And, follow Bingo if you want. I don't know who he is, but if he
might be a nice guy.
If he's from 1986 as well, he can only be a wonderful person at the same time. Yeah. Enough digression. It's time to give this show a rating. And so I ask you this evening, as I will again on Tuesday for SummerSlam, to give this a rating out of 5. How many kisses goodbye out of 5 would you rate RosterSlam 2?
Oh, I really enjoyed RosterSlam 2. So much so that I'm going to be very generous. Give it 4.5.
4.5 seems totally reasonable, and I'm going to match your 4.5. I'm going to call your 4.5, and we'll move on to the final card. Yes. To throw in a bit of a poker analogy for Las Vegas in SummerSlam tonight.
Good on you.
Yeah. No, it was stellar. It helps that we put the card together ourselves, and we chose what we already knew to be fantastic matches. We weren't ever going to turn up and be like, so we really chose a stinker group of matches there, didn't we? We really messed up there. We knew that they were good matches going in, but I just feel like the
Eva Marie matches.
Yeah. I can't think of a single Eva Marie good match, but hey, one day, maybe after tonight, there'll be one that can go in there. Yeah, so wonderful show. We will be debuting a new fantasy pay-per-view show come November at Survivor Series time, when we have the first ever roster series, which will be kind of like this one. We'll throw in some lower card matches, but we'll also have some eliminator style matches, Survivor Series matches, War Games matches, that kind of thing. So it'll be a slightly different format, but we've got a couple of months to plan that and get you ready to go come Thanksgiving weekend in November. Lots of time for that. And I will be back later tonight for SummerSlam. You will not.
Person. I'll be asleep.
Yeah, you'll be very asleep because you've got work in the morning.
Yes, I have to be up at 6:30.
Yeah, well, the way that SummerSlam has been booked with all the matches on it, I may still be awake at 6:30.
You might still be awake.
So yeah, spare a thought for me.
No.
Right. I'll just drop you a casual message when I go to bed and be like, yeah, now is when I went to bed.
Please do.
And just,
because I'll just be texting back saying I'm going to work now.
Yeah, I've just had my cereal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Garrus will be up at 6:30 trying to stop the child waking me. Yeah.
Ha.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Please get out. Just please.
Get out.
I've only been in bed for 15 minutes. Please go away. But there we have it. Thank you very much to all that have joined us for RosterSlam today. Thank you to Bongo 1986, not Bingo 1986
Bongo.
for the raid. I'm sure Bingo will raid us one day, but today it was Bongo. And I will see you very, very, very late tonight for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And you'll see us on Tuesday for the recap of SummerSlam in our regularly scheduled main roster. I've been Jez.
I've been Dan.
We'll see you later. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.